This wall looks like it's been painted, huh? Well, it hasn't. I just installed sheetrock mud over the entire wall, floated it out, made it nice and smooth. I then sanded it, wiped it down. Now I'm ready to install some primer. You always got to install primer over raw sheetrock mud. It's a must before you install your paint. I'll show you how to do it. Stick around and help me, will you? Here's our first wall we're going to install primer on. It's not a very long wall. And at the top, there's a window. So lucky for us, we don't have to go all the way up to the top. But on my next wall, I'll show you how to cut in at the ceiling. See over there, we're going to paint across there too. And I'll show you how to cut in up there with a cut-in brush and that kind of thing. Okay? So there's our paint, there's our nice roller. Got craft paper down, I've swept alongside the wall there so I can get down as low as possible with the roller without hitting the ground. So let's put some primer on the wall. Okay, because I don't have any paint on here yet, it may take a couple dips to get enough on here. I'm just going to gently put it in here. It's kind of difficult to work out of a bucket that's full all the way, but after you use it just for a little bit, the paint will go down in here and it'll be easier to dip and roll. So right at first, you're not going to be able to run off a lot of the paint on there. Okay? When you get it, just kind of roll it back and forth to then get it up on the wall. And I'm going to dip this a couple times first, because like I say, it needs to. The paint needs to fill up on this paint roller cover. Okay, you just do this and it kind of gets the drips in there. Now I can put it on the wall. And I'm just going to put a couple dips on there and I'm going to keep putting on a little bit more paint before I finish and move on. Okay? Now if you get a few drips on the floor, that's okay, as long as you got the drop cloth down or anything like that. Okay? Try to keep it off. Now I'm just doing full roller lengths like that. I'm getting down as close to the bottom as I can without hitting the ground. Okay? You'll get the hang of it, but that's why you want to have this all nicely swept. If you've got craft paper down on the ground or if you've got a drop cloth, you want to try not to hit your drop cloth. And we're just going to keep loading some paint on here first before we move on. Get up as close to the wall, the adjoining wall that you can. Now this wall here I'm going to go ahead and paint too, so I'm not too concerned if I get any paint on there right now. But just get up there, and I'm going back and forth, up and down, all the way. See how nice it is with the extension pole? Now I can move on. I'm just concerned about concentrating on getting a nice even flow on here. This is primer, so you're still going to see a little bit of the sheetrock mud coming out through that. But the thing we did too is we tinted this paint. The reason why we tinted this paint is because the tenant is going to decide, do they like this color before they get the finished paint. And then they can the next coat will go over this nice and easy too. Okay? So, because this is a smooth wall and because this is primer, I can only put so much primer on there before I have to move on. Okay, so now, ooh, this cover works good. Okay? Now, when I move on, everything's nice and even. Even strokes. Make sure you have your back brace on. Nice even strokes. If you don't have even pressure all the way up there, you're going to get certain areas where this might be more paint than here, than there. That's why you've always got to watch what you're doing. Now at the bottom when you do that, if you turn this over, here's your bottom edge of the frame. You can take that, run that right down along on the floor. And that'll keep the roller up off the ground a little bit. See, I got my eyes closed right now and I'm doing this. I'm not even kidding. The bottom edge of the frame is, but not the roller. You can do that and then work your way from there up. The very bottom edge you don't have to worry about. If you've got baseboard, the baseboard is going to cover that. So hey, there you go. Now that we got some paint out of this bucket, I'm going to show you the proper way to load up your paint on a roller. Just dip it down in there a couple times. You don't have to cover the whole thing. Just run it on here. Now dip it a little bit and run it on here. Now when you have enough, the idea is you're taking the excess paint off of this. That way when you put it up there, you got it all nicely covered. Okay? Now once more paint gets out of this bucket, then it'll be easier and easier to roll it and clean off some of the excess paint. That's the proper way to do it. Now you're ready to put that on the wall.